When you are in my profession, I've always been somebody in the sidelines, somebody in the background that makes everything run smoothly. But the key is I'm in the background, you're not seen. And I love that. That's my role. I'm an introvert. And with your own business and scaling and all the rest of it, you have to become the main character. And I found that very difficult. To take my nanny hat off and put the CEO hat on, that has been very challenging.
Welcome to the show. Today we have a special guest. Today we have Lynsay Kilbane. Lynsay is the founder of the Mama Consultancy. She transitioned from a high-profile nanny career to becoming an entrepreneur. Her company, established in Abu Dhabi in 2022, provide elite staffing solution and concierge services for high-income family globally. She focuses mainly on nannies and maternity nurses and other household staff. She's also very soon launching the Nanny Academy Middle East to train non-Western nannies to meet the Western standards, basically. She's aiming to provide the private staffing industry in the UAE and the Middle East with a better service overall and a better training for the nannies and the other household staff. So let's get into the episode. Welcome to the Moncler podcast. Today we have Lynsay Kilbane. Kilbane? Did I say that right?
Yes.
Kilbane. Okay, Lynsay. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Lynsay, you are the CEO and the founder at the Mama Consultancy. Can you explain a little bit what that is? Because I think it's very interesting.
Sure. So the Mama Consultancy was born from my love of nannying. I am based in the Middle East. I'm based in Abu Dhabi myself. And there's a real gap here in the market for professional Western nannies. So I started my agency alongside my full-time job as a governess here, and it's just grown from there.
Yeah. So you started was it a side project? Was it you were just testing the water a little bit to see if it was going to take off? Or?
Yes. So I had always planned on retiring from nannying before having my own children, which I still don't have yet, but I wanted to have everything in place before that happened. So this was a kind of a side hustle, and I'm in year 3 now. And the start of this year, I decided to go full time with the agency, and it's been one of the best decisions I think I've ever made.
Yeah. So that's it's never easy to start a business, as you know. What do you think pushed you toward this? Was it because you wanted to retire? I'm going to put some air quote on this, to retire from being a nanny, or is it because you have bigger goal, or you're trying to expand, or what's your vision with the business?
Mm-hmm. So really, I wanted to, when I have my own children, be able to look after them and not leave them with a nanny to look after somebody else's children. That was the goal. Freedom. So, being a nanny and you're working for ultra high net worth families, you're in demand. You have to kind of dedicate your life to the family, which is great. And it was always a pleasure of mine. But that does come at a cost of your own personal life and your own personal goals. I very sadly lost my younger brother 2 years ago, and it made everything in my world stop. And I had to reflect. And I thought, actually, no, now it's time to kind of put myself and my own dreams first. And that's made me retire officially and go full time.
Yeah. Okay. That's a really inspiring story. How are you doing today with the business? Are you operating only in Abu Dhabi, or are you doing Middle East? Are you operating globally?
So actually operating globally, which is amazing. Based in Abu Dhabi, which is great. There are not many agencies here. Dubai, it has become very, very popular in the last couple of years. The demand is really growing here, and not many people have offices based here on the ground with an understanding of this market, because it is a different market. It's not like placing somebody in London. But yeah, I also have clients in London, Saudi, Qatar, all over the place, really.
Yeah. Do you feel like being on the ground, like you say in Abu Dhabi? helps you to create connection and to be more present, more visible.
Definitely. Abu Dhabi, as an emirate, is somewhere where networking is everything. It's a very small, close knit community. All of my work comes through my network, through referrals, recommendations, which I'm so grateful for. So really, here it's a big plus.
Yeah, yeah. And so you were working as a nanny for, what was it, 16, 17 years?
About 15 years in total.
15 years, yeah. That's
Yeah.
that's a long time. How did you become a nanny, and why?
So I had always wanted to work with children in some capacity or other. And I actually got the opportunity to become a holiday nanny for somebody who one of my friends knew. So I started that and absolutely loved it. Just, kind of an everyday regular family. It was single mom who just really needed an extra pair of hands. And I fell in love with it. I fell in love with her family, her child, and really saw like the impact I could have working in such a setting. So
Mm.
from there, I went on and climbed the ladder, as it were, into, kind of your more governess kind of roles, head nannies, or has been a rota nanny, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and that's really interesting. So, is there a lot of nannies in the Middle East? I mean, it may sound like an obvious question for some, but not everyone knows that what the market is there, and where you actually operate. What's the not the numbers, because I know it's impossible to tell because those are private families and you never know. But in your knowledge, is the Middle East the place to be if you're a nanny and you want to grow and to travel somewhere different?
Definitely a growing market. So I've been here now for 5 years, and I was here previously with another role, I think 8 years ago. And the number of Western nannies is growing. The setup here is slightly different. So everybody here has what they call a nanny. But compared to Western standards, they're not nannies. They kind of have, it's kind of like a housekeeper babysitter role, and they're
Hmm.
paid very, very poorly. So everybody has this kind of nanny. And then the very elite families, maybe you're talking about the royal families, or like, the ultra high net worth families here, do have Western nannies, British nannies, American, Australian, European, because of our passport, because we can travel with the families, because the other kind of nanny cannot really travel here. Um, as I've been here each year, more Western nannies come over, definitely. In Dubai, there are more than Abu Dhabi. A lot of people still don't know that much about Abu Dhabi, even though it's the capital of the country. And with the popularity of Dubai growing, I have so many new people wanting to make the move over, because they see Dubai as this glitzy place, which is amazing, and it is, and it's a great travel hub. If you like to travel, this is a great spot to be in,
Yeah,
because you're close to everywhere, but it's really hard work. Um, 6 days a week here is very norm
yeah,
for nannies, and we don't really get that in London. It's 12-hour days mostly. It's a totally different setup.
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I have came across many posts, many jobs where it's a one day off a week, and it's not for everyone. So
Yeah,
you have to understand that, and this is what it is, and it doesn't mean the lifestyle is not good. I mean, you said yourself, it's a great place to be, right?
it's amazing. For me, the lifestyle outweighs anything, especially if you get the right family, then you can get the balance. Um, if you have school age children, for example, you don't have to go back to the house and do the housekeeping and do the things in the house that you might be doing in London. Somebody else is doing that. So, you might do the school run, and then you can enjoy the country, and then you do school pickup. So there's a nice balance if you have the right thing set up. But there is a huge influx of millionaires that have joined the country, that have moved. I think the UK has lost the most millionaires in the last, I think it's year, and the UAE has gained the most millionaires. So the market's really growing, trends are changing. Because people from the UK, for example, are coming over, and they have never had a 6 day a week nanny, so they are considering 5 days. So the whole market is kind of changing as we speak.
Yeah. Yeah. So where do you find the nannies? Where do you find the candidates? Do you have I suppose you have very good connections with people from the industry and outside the industry. But how do you gather all these incredible candidates for your clients?
Well, I would say that my network is really my strongest point because I've been, in the game for 15 years myself. I have worked alongside some incredible nannies. And that is great, and also I take their recommendations because I trust them. That's my most organic way, and that's the way I really like to hire nannies, because I don't think you can beat a personal experience or recommendation. But other ways, I have my website. I'm in a lot of groups over here. There are so many groups across the internet for people wanting to move here, and they can be a great place to find people.
Yeah, and you have something. You're gonna launch something in the fall this year, right? In the last part of the year. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Is this an academy or is it a
Yes.
school? What is it?
So it's something very exciting. So one of the reasons that I started the Mama Consultancy was really to improve the nanny market here. Some of the things that I see on a day-to-day basis from the other kind of nanny that I was talking about earlier, which is really a babysitter kind of housekeeper role, really is heartbreaking. And I am on a mission to educate this kind of nanny. So I'm launching the Nanny Academy in September. This is where for families who have a nanny that they trust and they love, but maybe they just need some upskilling, some training, and some teaching, just learning about what it is to be a Western nanny. And so I am creating a 6-week course, which will be like a very intimate course, which is coaching from me, but it's online, so it doesn't take away from their workload. And at the end of it, they really will be up leveled and
Yeah.
upskilled.
So what's the profile of the person that wants to join your academy? Is it someone that already has been a nanny in the past? Is it someone that just want to start?
Yeah, so maybe it's a nanny from, and it's going to be the majority of going to be from the Philippines or from Africa. That's where the nanny, that's where the nannies are from here in the UAE. And so it's someone from one of those countries who has been working as a nanny or wants to get into nannying. Maybe they found a family, but they're just struggling. It could be perhaps communication, or their employers are struggling to communicate their needs because of this cultural difference.
Yeah.
So that kind of person, someone who's really eager to do better, and ultimately this will provide the nannies' families that they leave. For example, in the Philippines, these ladies come over and they leave their own children to work as a nanny here and look after somebody else's children. And ultimately, when they have received this training and they kind of, then demand a higher salary, it will benefit their families back home. And I really hope to try and break this cycle that they very sadly have to go through.
Yeah. So it's both for nannies that want to enter the industry and for families that already have a nanny, that you can
Yes,
come on site and pretty much do an assessment of what they're doing right, what they can improve, and then help them, maybe guide them toward a more how can I say, schedule or standardized type of service.
definitely, because there are some patterns that there are very common complaints, let's say, about this kind of nanny, and really all it's going to take is somebody to communicate this to the nannies. It's just
Yeah.
cultural differences. It's basics, what we think are basics.
Yeah.
But it would just take a little bit of time explaining to these people using the right language. And it will really just add so much value to the families' lives, to the children, to the nannies. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I can imagine that this will definitely help them. And you're right. I mean, there is not only in the nanny industry, but in all the service industry, you often bring people from outside your country, and do you expect them to evolve in a way that your family does? And
Yeah,
this is not always the case. You have to kind of communicate and explain why we're doing this, and it's not obvious for everyone, especially from outside. So
exactly.
this
Even when
is
it
this
comes to
is
things like, what to cook for the children. I mean, somebody from the Philippines eats rice for breakfast, that's very normal. I mean, for a British family, for example, we would never do that. So
My
it's
daughter
just these
wouldn't. Yeah, she wouldn't.
small things. Or if you say, oh, can you cook pasta? I mean, again, if you're a European family, this is like a staple.
Yeah,
But Filipinos, I've met so many ladies who are like, I have never eaten pasta. I don't like it. I don't know how to cook it. But for us, it's
yeah,
like, whoa, it's super easy. So it's just taking the time to teach this small skill, which will really benefit everybody.
yeah, yeah. So the academy, will it be online? Will it
Yes.
be on site? Will it be with other teachers, or will you be teaching the lessons and the courses?
So it's going to be online. It's 6 weeks, and each week a new module is released, so as we're not going to overwhelm
Yeah,
the ladies. There is a weekly coaching call, a live coaching call with myself. I am going to include cooking skills in it, so I'm going to bring a chef in, and she'll be teaching that. I do aim not for the first cohorts. I'm going to be doing it in like 6 week cohorts,
yeah,
to have maybe other experts come on as guests. There is an in-person first aid course, which is a qualification that you'll receive from the Dubai ambulance. So that's in person. So the way it's set up is really, I hope, going to be very convenient for everybody.
yeah. So the nannies in Abu Dhabi, or the nannies that you place, is it common for the family to expect them to cook for the kids?
So that depends what kind of nanny we're talking about. We're talking about Western nannies, or this other kind of nanny. Like they call them maids here, but I don't like to use that word. I think it's derogatory. Western nannies, no. Not cooking. They have a chef usually in the house.
Yeah,
If you're nannying in the UAE, you're really only doing the childcare only,
yeah,
and even then, you will have probably a nanny assistant, which is probably a Filipino nanny who will do kind of the hands-on nannying. So, for example, they might bath the children, they might get the children's things ready, whereas you will focus on boundaries, teaching etiquette, manners, rules, scheduling, that kind of thing.
yeah, yeah. This is there's a lot. There's a lot to teach there. There's a lot to try to implement. Do you feel like over the past few years the way kids are raised, or the things we teach to the kids, do you feel like there's a switch, or do you think like there's a different approach to raising kids? Because you are maybe not yourself anymore, but as a nanny you are facing this every day, and you probably have to follow the guidance of the parents in the way you're teaching the kids.
Mm-hmm. I think it really depends on the family. I think COVID changed a lot of things because people
Hmm.
actually had to spend a lot more time with their children. A lot of people didn't have staff during those times, or they moved their staff in during those times. I think approaches to parenting are definitely different nowadays. I think there's so many different ways now to parent. You can believe in boundaries, you can believe in discipline, you may not. Also, something to mention here is a lot of the roles here are for very high profile families like the
Hmm.
royals, and they have a totally different protocol to really any other family. Even if you were dealing
Yeah,
with the royals in the UK, it's totally different. So it just depends. It really depends. It depends if how and where the parents were educated. Here it's like such a hot pot of different cultures and educations. It's amazing. I mean, you might work for some Arab families here who went to university in the US, and so
hmm,
their approach to parenting will be totally different to working for Arabs here who went or maybe didn't go to university, or if they did, they stayed here in the UAE. Very different.
yeah, yeah. And so, in terms of how you see your business now, Lynsay, what's the biggest challenge you faced when you started your business? Is there anything that really stands out, or was it just step by step to implement things and try to grow and create something from thin air, basically, because that's what creating a business is?
Hmm.
Was there
I
anything
think
that stand out?
in the beginning it was really I think it was a very ideal way to start a business because I didn't put any pressure on myself. I was employed in a very good job with principals that I absolutely adore, who supported me as well on this journey. So there was no pressure. If it worked, it worked. If it didn't, it didn't. It's something that I resisted for a long time. People would approach me and, in my circle and say, "Oh, I need a nanny. Can you help me?"
Mm-hmm.
And I would always say no, because it's a very big responsibility putting any kind of private household stuff inside a household. I think it's a very big responsibility.
Yeah, because this is not just a job. You are actually working within a private setting, a private environment, within a family. So it's not just about how good you are at your job, but you have to fit well within the environment, the staff, the family members, the culture, like you said before.
Exactly. And the people around children, particularly in the first 7 years, shape that child as a human. So it's not just any kind of job. So yeah, it was really organic, and I didn't really encounter many issues. It was very natural. It was a natural progression. I think maybe this year, when I decided to go full time, that was when I had to kind of sit down and say, right, I'm going to take this seriously now. How do I operate more professionally? Like, how do I scale a business? And that is all very new. I'm still learning every single day. I'm in multiple courses, memberships, groups, networking. There is a lot to learn. I think probably the most difficult thing, actually, if I think about it, is when you are in my profession. I've always been somebody in the sidelines, somebody in the background that makes everything run smoothly. But the key is I'm in the background, you're not seen. And I love that. That's my role. I'm an introvert. And with your own business and scaling and all the rest of it, you have to become the main character.
Yeah.
And I found that very difficult. To take my nanny hat off and put the CEO hat on, that has been very challenging.
Yeah, this is something that I can relate to that, because as a private chef, I was a private chef myself for many years, and when you come from a restaurant background, this is exactly what you said. You are trying to work in the background. You are back of the house, and when you start stepping into a private chef role, which is a lot more client facing, every day you have to talk to the principals and see if they like the food and comment on what you've prepared. So it was it's a very, very similar path, I think, to the one you have today.
And how have you found transitioning into then, your agency?
Like you said, it's a work in progress. We're learning every day. I think it comes from, first of all, you have to always question everything and always try to not assume that you know anything, and just keep learning and look up to people that have succeeded before, and try to see where you can improve. And I think it's a constant wheel that you have to keep spinning to grow the business and to support yourself, because as you know, once you take the step and you take the leap of faith, you have to recreate that income. So you have to believe in yourself as well. Did you plan? I suppose because you had your business as a side gig for a little bit. Did you financially plan a 6-month cushion for you in terms of salary to make sure you had enough money to launch the business properly, or did you just go for it?
I'm very lucky. I mean, the universe lined everything up for me. I think just before my brother passed, I sold a house, which was an investment for me. And he advised me as well, don't sell that house, you're making a mistake. Then he passed away. And then everything, went wild. And that was the reason that I could really comfortably retire from nannying, because of that investment.
Yeah.
So I was lucky.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. And so the business is based in Abu Dhabi today. Where do you see your business going? What's your dream? What's your goal?
Good question. I would like to become the go-to person for nannies in the Middle East. That's my big goal. And that's both types of nannies. I want to be known for Western nannies, placing outstanding nannies and household staff, house managers. I like to place house managers. They're really great to work for. Maternity nannies, love to work with them. But then I'd also really just like to just make a huge impact on the other nanny market. I'd love to do that, because that for me is really fills my heart. So that's the goal. If I could take the Nanny Academy across the Middle East, and that would be the dream.
When you say make a huge impact, what kind of impact do you think you need to make? Is it do you wanna elevate the level of service? Do you
Yeah.
wanna get
I want
people,
to.
maybe not better people, but people that are better trained, that have the better
Mhm.
tools to do the job?
I want to elevate the level of care that children are receiving in the Middle East from their nannies. That's right to the heart of it. I mean, I see nannies who are sat down speaking to each other in their own language, and there's an English the child doesn't speak that language. The child is crawling around in like a concrete, unfinished building site, eating chips, watching the nanny's phone. And for me, I find it very hurtful. I just want more for the child, and the
Yeah,
child deserves more. You know, the parent is obviously employing this nanny, and not knowing what's really going on. So I don't want to see that anymore. I think children
yeah,
deserve better.
yeah. Because this is probably not what you would present to your kids, to
Yeah,
your child, especially at a young age. You probably have to be careful what you do and who you put around your kids.
yeah.
So how would you deal with a nanny or with this kind of situation? Let's just say you are invited into the house to do an assessment and you see something like that.
Hmm.
What would be your advice? What would be how would you do you speak would you speak to the principal first, or would you speak to the nanny first, or would you take them separately? Well,
I would take them separately, but I think you do have to have understanding that actually the nanny doesn't. She's not doing it from a place of from a negative place. She's actually just doesn't know the effects of what she's doing. I mean, for example, if you're not speaking to a child in the first kind of 3 years, they can have speech um, issues. So I worked once for a family, and their child had a speech issues.
mhm.
And when we went to see the speech therapist, she said, "Oh, okay, so there's this group of sounds that he didn't learn. What was he doing during this period of his life?" And it was actually when he had a nanny who the parents were just, they just had an uncomfortable feeling about her. They kind of felt as if she was just meeting up with her friends and just leaving him to play on the floor. And it turns out, well, actually that affected him, and he missed out on a whole group learning a group of sounds
Yeah,
because of that.
yeah,
But so if we educate the nannies and say, well, this is actually the impact that you're having, and educate them about screen time and the negative effects of it and what we can do instead from a place of love and positivity, then I think everybody wins. And then you go to the parent and you say, right, this is what's happening. However, this is how we're going to educate and change it, and this is what you can do to also support nanny. And they need a lot of support from not just me but also their employers.
yeah. So the academy will bring will offer tools to the nanny as well to deal with this kind of situation, I suppose. And this case study, when you can say, in this situation, what can you do, and then just give
Yes.
them options.
Okay, so another issue here is nannies posting on social media. So TikTok here is huge, and employers have discovered that their nannies are TikToking with their house in the background with their children on social media, which again is just unacceptable. But I don't think they're doing it again from a place of, from a bad place. I just think it's about educating them on the rules, the boundaries, and why.
Is it common for an employer, for a family, to ask the nanny to sign an NDA?
No,
Because if there is such, no, okay,
which is something that will be in my course.
yeah.
It's why we need them, and here, this is
Because
why.
someone, if this is also one of the basic rules in the super yacht industry,
Mm-hmm.
that anyone can take a photo of the exterior of the boat, but whatever happened and whatever is in the interior should not be promoted in any way, unless the owners are choosing to have a
Yes,
camera crew and have people taking photos and posting them in articles. This
exactly.
is yeah,
So
yeah.
I
So
also do think it's going to be a case of educating the employers as well, because people that typically employ this kind of nanny don't have too much education around like what it means to be a nanny, the rules, the processes of onboarding. So something else that I'll be including is what are the expectations, contract templates, NDA, and just educating the employers of what you should be expecting and how you should be handling issues.
Yeah. So do you teach nannies? Do you feel like you provide already that service to the nannies you're placing and to the nannies in your circle?
No, the nannies that I place are excellent, like the superstar nannies, the nannies that I actually put into people's homes. So the teaching will definitely just come in the Nanny Academy for the kind of untrained helpers.
Yeah. Lynsay, you mentioned something about the super mums of Abu Dhabi in an article that I read about you. Can you tell us what this is? Who are those super mums?
Well, I wish I could tell you, but I've signed an NDA.
Okay, you can then let's not talk about it. Or if you can share something.
I can give you an overview of like some
Yes,
of the
of
women
course.
that I've met here are just incredible. When I moved here, I've worked for many families all across the world, but the mums here are different. There's a certain group here that are businesswomen, entrepreneurs, wives or partners, mothers, employers of staff, drivers. They holiday, they're amazing friends. They're just creating this incredible lifestyle here, and I just find them so impressive. They're really uplifting. I have had the privilege to be in the presence of these super moms, and I find them so inspiring that actually you can have it all. You really can. And they prioritize things like health, and it's just amazing. I just haven't seen anywhere else in the world do everything the way that these moms are doing it.
Do you think this is one of the reasons why you love Abu Dhabi?
Yes, definitely. I mean, dreams come true here. If you work hard, dreams come true here. It's a very positive environment. It's beautiful. I love it.
Yeah, that's very inspiring. I have yet to visit Abu Dhabi, but it sounds like it's a nice place to be and to live as well and to work, which is great. So, Lynsay, what makes you proud?
I think finally taking the leap, actually, and leaving the nannying world behind to reach my own dreams and goals. That makes me proud.
Yeah, and it's not easy, and you have to do it, and you'll never know if you don't do it. You'll never know what the reward you could gather and the experience you could accumulate.
Exactly. I once heard this quote, and I'll never forget hearing it. And it was, "What if when you die, you meet the person that you could have been at the gates?" And I found that so powerful. The person that you could have been if you'd reached your full potential, if you didn't let anything hold you back, if you said yes to opportunities, if you just went for it. And that thought really terrified me, because I thought, well, that person would be super different to the person that I turn up as, and I don't want,
Yeah.
I don't want that.
So do you feel like today you're taking as much calculated risk, and you're living fully, and you're doing everything you want the way you want it, or you still have some of this barrier, some of this things that stops you?
Definitely on my way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. Self-care.
Mm-hmm.
How do you take care of yourself, Lynsay? Is it easier to take care of yourself in Abu Dhabi, or is it no matter where you are, or is it?
Well, it's funny because when I was employed as a nanny, what is self-care? You're working all the time. So now working for myself, it's amazing. I factor it in to every single day, and travel for me is self-care. I have traveled enormously this year, which has been amazing. I've been able to travel whenever I want to see my family. I can go and do that. Yeah, I love it. Self-care is just trying to get the balance. Some weeks I'm better at than others. Don't get me wrong. Some weeks I'm like full work mode, and I put my blinkers on. I'm just looking at my laptop. But yeah, the balance. It's definitely better now. Self-care.
Yeah, no, that's good. And you made the space for it. You schedule into your own calendar, and you basically shaping your own your own routine and your own week by being your own boss. So
Yes.
would you encourage, do you think entrepreneurship is for everyone? Would you encourage someone that wants to start?
I don't think it's for everyone. It's very difficult. I think I underestimated how difficult it is to motivate yourself every single day. That's very challenging. To have an open mind, to keep learning and all the rest of it. And you know, you're going to get no's, and there are going to be difficult days and months. But if you have a dream, go for it. 100% highly recommend it. Whether it's, you know, whether you are a nanny and you want to do something around nannying, or if you want to do something completely different. You know, if you want to go and work in an office, if you want to be a estate agent, if you want to bake cakes, go for it.
Yeah.
And the worst that can happen is you fail,
yeah,
and then you just go and get a job again.
exactly. I can only agree with this. I mean, failing is okay too, because you will learn something that you would not have learned if you had just kept that easy and safe route that you were on. So I don't see that as a problem. I think it's actually an advantage to some extent. You just have to make sure you're not failing too big, maybe.
Yes. Don't put everything on the line.
Yeah. What about mindset, Lynsay? What is mindset important for you? Do you think it's important when you start a business, or in life in general?
I think it's key for life in general. Mindset. I mean, you can wake up and something can happen to you in the first 10 minutes, and then you have a choice. It's going to be a bad day or it's going to be a good day.
Yeah.
And everything is a choice, and mindset is a choice. I really do believe. And it's something you have to work on constantly, every single day, throughout the day. Books help, surrounding yourself with the right people, joining groups. Like for me, I've joined Female Fusion, which is a group that's based in the UAE, and it is for women who are following their dreams. They're entrepreneurs, they want to grow their business, and that has been really fantastic. I went to a retreat with them in Kenya in March, and I would say that changed my life. They were the ones that taught me, like, take your nanny hat off and put your CEO hat on. And that mindset shift was the most powerful mindset shift I've had.
Yeah. It's important to see yourself in what you want to become and not in what you are or what you were, because it will help you to become that person, I think.
Definitely. And everything that you absorb, whether it's things that you read, listen to, or people that you are spending time with, or your environment, that all matters. It all matters.
Yeah. Do you feel like like you said, and I'm sure you know that you are the average of the 5 person you spend your time with. Do you feel like you have tried to change those 5 person around you? Or are you trying to get closer to entrepreneurs and CEOs to?
Yeah, I think it's a difficult one, because when you step into, being an entrepreneur and working for yourself, your interests change. So that is a difficult one to get right, because obviously your friends are your friends and you still need to see them and build on those relationships. But you also do need to find a tribe that is understanding and supportive of what you are going through and your new troubles. So I think definitely encourage you to find this other tribe, but try and nurture both.
Yeah. Where do you find this new tribe?
Female Fusion. I've met some amazing women there, definitely. It's things like networking, events, but it's a struggle. It is difficult, and everybody's at a different, kind of point. And then again, like those super moms that I was talking about, whenever I am in the company of them, I feel, I feel like I'm up leveling. I feel, surrounded by inspiration, and feel like I can reach my potential.
Yeah. Do you miss being a nanny?
I went back to nannying for a couple of weeks this summer.
So you do?
Mixed reviews. I adore, the families that I work for. I adore them, and I had a great time, but it was a totally different experience having left it and then gone back. So I'm really glad that I did it, but I'm also really glad that I have created this lifestyle and business that I'm now living.
Yeah. What does success means to you?
Success means to me freedom. I don't want to have 30 days holiday ever again.
Yeah.
So success is setting my own time off, my own schedule. That's success. Financial freedom always helps, especially in the UAE. It's very expensive over here. But yeah, just creating the life that I want.
Lynsay, what? Let's go back into being a nanny. What was the biggest challenge that you felt when you were a nanny, and do you feel like it is something that you can solve by launching the academy for all the nannies around the world, or at least the nannies that would go through your academy and that would work in the Middle East?
Mm-hmm. I think one of the most challenging things about being a nanny or any position inside a household is really adapting to what that family likes or needs. So I think that's something that I can teach the nannies, that you know you're not always going to agree on every single situation when it comes to nannying. For example, you'll have your own views on what you should be saying yes to, what you should be saying no to, but ultimately it's the parents' decision. You have to respect their views, their culture. That's really key, and that can sometimes be difficult. If you're working for parents that don't believe in discipline whatsoever, but you do, that's really tough.
Yeah.
So, then you have to start with, okay, with the employer and the employee, is this going to be a right fit? Or are you too different? And then secondly, okay, how are we going to make this work? What can you do or change to adapt?
Yeah. Can you say no as a nanny?
Depends on who you work for. I believe in no very
Yeah.
strongly. I don't think no has to always be. Some people paint saying no as like such a terrible thing, but
It's the
it's
opposite.
very good. Children
I think it's the
need
opposite. It
boundaries.
just exactly. It just sets your own boundary and gives respect to your person as well, and to who you are. And it's a sign of
You're not being
value.
mean. You're shaping somebody's worldview. If they want to throw a train in their sibling's face, for example, is that okay?
Yeah.
That's not okay. That's not okay now at 3 or 5 or 10 years old or 15 or as an adult. It's not
Yeah.
okay. If they don't know how to behave when walking along the pavement and you say no to a behavior, I think, again, that's valid. You have to teach them. That's your position. But, I have worked for families that don't believe in saying no, and tricky, but there are ways around it. Just the language that you use, you need to adapt, and different techniques that you can use.
Yeah. Yeah. I can imagine that um, if you have to take care of the kids and educate the kids, as well as sometimes educate the parents on different ways, because I suppose there is not only one way to raise kids. So how do
Mhm.
you come in the middle as a nanny? Do you just follow the instruction to the dot from the parents, or do you try to implement your ideas and your style, or how do you deal with this? Or is it started from the first interview that you have with the family,
Yes.
saying, is this going to work? Is are their values matching
Yes.
my own values as a teacher,
It
as
has
a
to
nanny?
start. It has to start from the beginning. You have to be very honest during the beginning. You know, as much as they're interviewing you, you need to be interviewing them as well. Because if you believe in routine, structure, and boundaries, and you go and work for parents that don't, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Even if the salary is huge. And I get a lot of nannies who say, yeah, no, it's fine because the package is great. It's not fine. You won't last long term, which is unfair to the children,
Yeah.
ultimately, that you're going to leave. So find someone that you can work with, pick your battles. They're not your children. That's something I tell all of the nannies that I work with. They're not actually your children. It's not up to you. So if you can't get on board with the parents' values, find another family.
Yeah. And can you give some advice to nannies that are looking for a job? Is there anything that you would consider as a red flag, or anything to look out when you
Mhm.
get on that first interview with the family?
Um, Interview, I always advise to be yourself, because if you're not, and then you get the job further down the line, obviously, you start being yourself when you feel more comfortable. And if it's not going to work, it's a shame then because you've wasted your time. So I would definitely be realistic into, can you see yourself doing this job 6 days a week? Can you see yourself getting along with the parents? Always trial.
Yeah.
100%. Some families push for no trial, but I always push for a trial, at least a week, because you can be the best nanny on paper, but when you get inside a household, it's all about your energy, and if it's not there, if it's bad energy, then it's probably not going to work. Always trust your gut instinct. Always. It's a shame, for nannies, we have to get references, etc. But it's a shame that, we can't do the same for families sometimes, because
Yes.
not all
There's many
principals are
industries where
great.
you wish there was a little review book where you can just check the reviews from the past employees or.
Yeah. And also, I would recommend nannies, particularly here in the UAE, now that there's an influx of nanny jobs, go through an agency, because there are a lot of things that can go wrong. The UAE is very strict on a lot of different things, so just make sure you get it right. An agency will be able to advise you on cultural norms, on what is correct and what is not correct. It's really beneficial to use an agency, I would say.
Yeah. Because I understand that it might be easier to find jobs on Facebook or some social media, but it's also good to have an insider information, or not information, but just an opinion on where you're going, and just check with your agent, with your agency, like, do you think this is okay? This is what the salary is. This is what the working conditions are. This is what the accommodation, because I suppose most of these nannies are live-in, right? Or are they?
It depends. A lot of the Western nannies actually live out. So what is good here in the UAE is you get a package, which is the salary plus accommodation plus a car. I mean, that used to be the complete standard. Now it's getting a little bit diluted with the new expats coming in and the new nannies. The standards are changing, but most Western nannies are live out, which is really good.
Yeah. Lynsay, I was reading that you offer a concierge service for the mothers and the children. Is this a different avenue in your business? Is this the same as because the Mama Consultancy is the academy, or is the business itself? Then you will launch the academy, but the concierge service, I suppose, is something that comes on the side.
So it's the Mama Consultancy, and we have recruitment on one side and concierge on the other side. And then we have the Nanny Academy, which will be a separate business, but all mine, kind of under my umbrella. So the Mama Concierge is a service that's for really targeted at I say mothers, but I have a lot of work just from families in general who need help with their to-do lists. So perhaps they don't have a Western nanny, or perhaps their Western nanny is not strong with kind of the PA side of things. In my roles, I've always been, head nanny or family PA. So I love to do this kind of thing. So family might say to me, right, we're traveling to Italy. We need a villa. So I'll go, and I'm, using my network and using, I've been all around the world with families. So I know a thing or two, and I love to travel. So I'll find them an amazing villa. I've had clients who say to me, I'm looking for this very rare puppy or bird. Can you help me source it? Okay, fine. Leave it with me. I get some very random requests. I love it. All different kinds of things. Can you create an itinerary for me? We're going to LA for the summer. Great. Or I have children, they're 10 and 12 years old. I need summer camp options. Great. So then I'll tailor the options and deal with everything from A to Z with planning their schedules according to their interests. It's very varied. I only offer it to a very select few number of clients, usually the ones that I've placed household staff with. But it's a really great extra string to my business that I enjoy.
Yeah. Travel is important for you, right? You mentioned in a little document that I sent you before the interview, you've been to 40 countries. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes, 40 countries so far.
How many more
I
do you wish to do?
I don't plan to stop. So I'm doing Rwanda and Uganda in September. They will be my next two countries, and the list hopefully will go on and on and on.
Yeah, you get to travel for work now?
Not really for work now. I did a lot of travel during my nannying years, but now it's more pleasure.
Yeah.
Or I sign up to something like some kind of um, learning. Like I went to Kenya this year on the business retreat, so maybe it's something like that that I'll go and do.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something that once you started traveling, you can't stop. I think this is part of also just trying to understand what's outside your own world and try to learn from it. It's a constant
Definitely.
journey.
Mm-hmm.
Lynsay, before I let you go, I have just one last questions. You get to eat anywhere in the world. Don't worry about
Mm-hmm.
transportation or anything. We're just visualizing here. You get to work to eat anywhere in the world. You get an hour. Um, who do you take with you, past or present?
I'll take my brother with me, definitely from the past.
Yeah.
um, do you want to
Where do
know
you
where I'll
go?
go?
Yes, I do. This is very important because
I
that tells me a lot about your experience. And
Okay, it might surprise you. I would actually go to my parents' home and
okay,
have my dad's roast dinner. That is the best roast dinner in the entire world. You can't beat it. I've been everywhere. I've tried everywhere. You cannot beat his Yorkshire puddings and roast potatoes. So honestly, it would be my dad's roast dinner in my family kitchen. I'll,
awesome.
I'll take that over Nobu and Zuma and all of these different
Can you now
places.
find a good roast dinner in Abu Dhabi?
Oh no, it's been a disaster. Honestly, I am trying. I tried a new place on Sunday, but you can't. It's not something you can replicate. It needs to be home cooked.
Yeah, it's not just about the food. Like you said,
But the love that goes in.
yeah, the love, your parents' house, the
Yes,
fact that you're with them, it's the whole package. It's like everything in life, I suppose. It's not just one thing that matters. It's the whole environment as well.
so true.
Thank you so much, Lynsay, for the time. I'm sure you're very busy because I know how it is to run an agency, and there's always something. There's always something on the back burner. There's always something going. Some email to catch up to, and some phone call to
Yes,
get back to.
yes, or a new business to launch. Who knows? I like doing that. So,
Yes, yes. Let's brainstorm. I'm sure we can come up with something. Thank you so much, Lynsay. Where can I find? Where can people find you? Sorry, where can I send? Where can we send people to find you?
so Instagram is probably my preferred. So it's at Lynsay Kilbane.
Yeah.
A bit of a weird spelling. So you can also find me at the Mama Consultancy. Yeah, on Instagram and Facebook.
Awesome. I'll put everything on all the links in the show note anyway, so people can just click and go and make it easy for them. Thank you so much,
Perfect.
Lynsay.
Thank you so much, Chris. It was a pleasure.
Same. Thank you so much for the time.
Take care. Bye.